Hello everyone. Your guide today is Peter, and I will be going through all the new organizers we have here today. I mean, this whole table is filled with wood and board games. Okay, let's jump into it. Perfect. If you're not seeing something, then also let me know. We have a wonderful crate for root, and of course 2 organizers to it. Let me grab them for you. Yeah, so roots, base game, 3 expansions. We wanted to create something which fits in various boxes, so it's quite modular. Let's start with the base game, and I will show you how it's made, what compartments you have. First of all, if you see it here, right up there, it sits almost totally flush, so you will not have much lid lift. This is all base game components and the first expansion. On the top, you have of course all the, oops, grabbing a bit too deep inside. So you have all the player boards from the different factions, the rules on top of here, so they all fit in nicely. After that, you have inside the game board, just folded as it is. It has a designated space. There's a little space gap because this fits. Sorry, there's still one piece. Small hiccups, of course. So the starting little equipments, they go in this compartment, and that holds the game board in place so it doesn't move, so it will hold everything beneath it in its position. So you have the game board here, and then you have all the little compartments for the various factions. If you have the lovely resin tokens, or I should you here, for the clearings, then you have this compartment. They just go in here nicely. You can decide the order of color, but this is it. It has the little cutouts matching the token itself if you turn it upside down. Some clearing tokens, like these markers, they're a bit wider than the space here. So we decided, I'm not sure if you can see, let me grab, yeah. So this middle wall here, this middle wall on the bottom is cut out. So if you insert them bottom first, that would fit without problem. They will not touch the wood. I mean, it will not scrape off the painting, but still have a nice space in there, fits well. So we thought about that. Then you have, of course, the various factions. The space is quite limited because we wanted to keep everything neatly organized and have it one base game box. So just a little tray for the dice, and then you start with the factions. 2 smaller ones. You have to organize them a bit more decently. Oops, sorry. But otherwise, they will just fit nicely. And they're ready to play, so you just take it out and you're good to go. The same goes in with the cats and with the lizards. If I wouldn't have messed up the box, they would have stayed in place. They will have a matching engraving on the bottom with the symbol of the cats or the lizards, so you know which box goes to which faction. We have 2 special ones because these factions have cards. So with the Eerie, here we go, I hope you see it. Yeah, it should be fine. So you have the lovely engraving of the birds, and if you slid the lid open, you have all the cards in here, and then the tokens and the figurines. So each material, so everything which goes to that faction is inside that little tray here. Same goes for the Vagabonds, also engraved the top. So you just slide it open, you have all the cards in here, and the cards will protect. Yeah, this is still a prototype, or yeah, exactly. So this cutout piece, you see it here, this cutout piece goes to the Vagabonds. This is something we noticed during assembly. We have to make it more clear in the assembly guide that these two pieces could have been interchanged, but not anymore. And so with this cutout, it will be easier to take out all the cards here. Let me grab that for you. And then you have two separate compartments for the lighter and the darker Vagabonds. And then all the cards from the base game and the first expansion go in here, and also from the Vagabond pack. So everything which is Vagabond, sleeve, premium sleeves. We used here Sven Panasia sleeves, so they're all thicker, premium ones. They fit in here nicely. If you close it with the lid, just sits in perfectly, so that's not an issue. Now we have two more compartments. This with the acorn here on top. This is the basic card tray. Basically, you can just take off the lid, just loosely sits on it, on top of it. There are two holes on the bottom. I hope you see it, yeah. And there are two notches on top of here. And these two notches go in there. And with that, you get like a triangle figure. And that sits on the table for you, making basically a card tray. So you just can go during the game, grab your cards, and much easier to play that way. So it's basically just put it out of the table and it's good for play. And this large double stack holder or a tray compartment, basically all the rest of the tokens, so the ruin tokens, the cardboard clearings, and the overview cards. It has also a cutout on the bottom here, just to push them out, so you have easy access. All the overview cards fit in here, also from the two other expansions, so that's also not an issue. Just throw everything in here. And last but not least, we have this gear token holder, where these little square gear tokens go in here. You just can push them on one side and then pick them up quite easily. Why is this good? Because of course, on the game board itself, you have this spot where they would go normally. So you just take this and put it on top and you're ready. And instead of just having to place everything there, once you have it inside the wood holder, it's good to go. How does it go into the box? Basically, just put them all next to each other. We'll soon need it for the crate version as well. And then it goes here in the cats and the other two factions. Now, the cats is the only faction which is really full. If I would have been a bit more elegant, I would have organized them, the wood pieces, instead of I just threw them in. So you have to pay a bit more attention there than I did. Yep. Oh yeah, I haven't closed the lid completely. Once the lid is completely closed, you can insert this and the regular cards in here, so everything stays in place, and then you put in the game board and the faction reds. So that's for the base game. Let me grab the expansion. I'll just push it on the side. Yeah. The expansion. You can take any expansion box. Again, also no lid lift, or like maybe 0.5 millimeter. So it's really not much. You can see it here. Just a little bit. Looking at the. Oh, thank you. Looking at the comments in the meantime. Yeah. So you again have the faction boards on top. From the Automata, the solo mode versions, they go in here nicely. Again, there's a spot for the game board. Goes on top to hold everything. There is a space for the card holder. Only one fit inside, so with the second Kickstarter there was only one delivered, so we will have space for one. If you have more, you can store it in one of the extra expansion boxes. And then you have one large layer of game components. Again, card tray with cutouts here. So you can just easily grab the cards, put them on the table, ready to use. Another card tray with the overview cards for the solo mode from all the 2 other expansions. Then you have this faction. Again, there's a little cutout here, so you can easily grab the cards, lift them up. There you have the burrow. Oh, there's actually the little engraving. I hope you can see it, so you know which faction goes in there. There's this little piece of wood, which will then keep the burrow in place. And once you put the cards on top, it will stay there, and then all the rest of the wood tokens. So this is there, and then the last faction, again, just wood components, the tokens you need. And the last tray here for the Vagabond, the 2 other dice, the large wood pieces, the path markers, and the rest. So there's plenty of space for you to reorganize a bit, or just play with it if you like it in a different setup, play with them differently. It's up to you. And these 2 organizers together can be stored. Either you store them separately in one of the base game box and one of the expansion boxes, or you take this wonderful crate. So this is made of 6mm birch plywood, so it's super sturdy. It has the same measurements mostly as the game box. So there's maybe, how would I say it, maybe a 2-3mm overhang. So it's not that much. It's almost the same. The measurements in these 2 dimensions. In the height, of course, we needed some extra space. So let me show you the engraving. So we have absolutely thematic artwork. For the root, of course, our logo, the frame here, and then you have 2 different sides. So when you have it in your shelf, in your Calac shelf, then you can still see what game it is from. It's a different engraving here on the side. So you have the acorn there, which keeps it in place, so it will not open, the lid will not slide, and it's basically now empty, but we can fill it up. You can start either with the expansion components or the base game components. It's totally up to you. I like to start with the base game, because why not? And then the same way how you put them into the separate game boxes, you just insert them here into the crate. Yep, that will take some time. The little dice tray, this one, and here you will need 1 game board, otherwise it will not fit. And then the expansion components, and let me grab the Vagabond. No, is it the burrows? Yep, it goes in here. And then we had 1 card hollow rail, and that's it. And then you take just all the rest of the faction boards, put them on top, the last game boards, everything, and on top goes the lid. Maybe you have to play a little bit to have all the boards aligned, but otherwise you have it inside, closes nicely, fully. And yeah, I mean, it's now heavy, of course, but I think you have then a wonderful crafted collector's edition of LROTE.